I don't know why they do this. They locked me out of the house, so I can't even get back into the house. Somebody doesn't realize that I'm out here. All right, so what's the real reason why you just can't seem to get your first real estate deal done? You might attend a bunch of trainings, you might watch a ton of YouTube videos, and you just can't seem to get it done. But you're screwing it up. So I want to see what I can do to help you. So there's 3 fundamentals you got to master with your real estate wholesaling business. Only 3. Number 1, how to communicate effectively with property owners. Number 2 is how to analyze properties correctly. And number 3 is going to be how to create a lead generation method that is going to not only bring you leads consistently, but also at the same time that you can scale. Decided to take a break and just do this video here from my backyard. Let's talk about number 1, which is how to effectively communicate with property owners. Do you have any sort of anxiety about getting on the phone with property owners and, feeling like, oh my, am I gonna know what to say? All that stuff going on in your head causes an obstacle for you not to get on the phone, not to do marketing, not to, maybe take the initiative. So if you felt 100% comfortable, confident that no matter what, you were going to be able to handle it, you were going to be able to overcome any objections, and that would just increase your confidence, and that's really what we want. If you are great at talking with property owners, everything else you do is going to be more effective. So if you are going to do any sort of marketing, whether it be doing digital ads, whether it's doing cold calling or anything, it's all just going to get better without you having to spend any more money or do any extra work. If you're able to communicate with property owners well, and you can figure out, hey, what do they need and how to navigate that conversation in a way that then now they trust you and they want to do business with you, then that is just automatically going to put you in a position where you can then now negotiate a better price on the property. You have to make that a daily practice. There's a bunch of people out there in the real estate niche that will teach you. They have different courses. There's a guy named John Martinez. There's a guy, Steve Morales. There's Steve Trang. If I didn't mention Steve Trang, then he would bust my balls. Find somebody you resonate with and then get training from them. If you can't afford the training, then you're going to have to go through the books. The 2 books I would recommend would be probably Spin Selling and the Wolf of Wall Street, Jordan Belfort. I think he wrote a book called The Way of the Wolf. And then the last component of the ability to talk to sellers is for you to figure out a script. You need repetitions, right? Because you're not, the first call you make with a property owner is going to be horrible. The second as well. You have to have repetitions. And so you have to know that you're going to be bad in the beginning, but then over time, the 10th call, the 20th call, the 30th call, you're going to get better and better and better. And before you know it, you're not going to have any hesitancy with getting on the phone with a property owner, and you're going to have amazing results because now you're good at that part of the business. All right, so the second thing you got to get good at is you need to get good at property analysis. You have to be able to get on the phone with the seller and in a relatively short period of time, and by that I mean within the first 5 minutes, have a general idea of what a property is worth, the seller that you're talking to, and how much you can offer. Using Zillow, that's what we use 99% of the time. We use Zillow. So don't give me an excuse about, I need these tools. No, you don't need that. With only Zillow. And what you can do is you can look at Zillow, you can look at the actives, you can look at the solds on Zillow, and let me know, put a comment if you want me to do a video on that. The deal is done when you negotiate the price. That's when you make your money. Your ability to know how much you need to get that property for on the contract is critical to you now making an assignment fee, or how to take an assignment fee that you would have made $3,000 or $4,000, and how do you turn that into a $15,000 to $20,000 deal. One of my most recent videos has a really weird thumbnail. It says big spreads. That's a video that I did with Todd Toback. You should watch that video because it covers this specifically. You have got to get really good at analyzing the property so that then you know exactly what it is you have to offer. Most importantly, how much you think you can sell that property for, so that before you put on the contract, you know that you have really good profit potential. This is a birds.
Those are birds!
As I'm talking about these things, if you think, oh, that's the thing I need the most help with, make a comment and say, Chico, Make a video about this. Or the last thing is lead generation. Yeah, you could be great at talking to sellers. You could be great at analyzing properties, but if you got no leads, nobody to talk to, then you're going to have a struggle with this business. And you have to look at this business. It's purely a numbers game. Depending on the type of leads you generate, you might need 35 to 50 leads, 35 to 50 conversations with property owners before you find one deal. Now you might think, oh my God, that's such a lot of people. But you know what? Anything related to sales is always going to have those numbers. And in the end, hey, if you talk to 35 or 50 people and then that one person that is a deal, you could end up making, $15,000, $25,000. Is it worthwhile? I think it is. You need consistent lead generation method that allows for warm incoming prospects that you can scale. That is not a hamster wheel. What do I mean by that? If you did something that generated a lead and a deal for you, it's every so often and it works here or there. Yes, it can get you a deal, but it's not great because you're not gonna be able to scale that. You want something that you can invest time, energy, and effort into to eventually then be able to continue doing that one lead generation activity. Because in order to get your first deal, you don't need 10 different ways to find a deal. You need one way to find a deal. People will argue, well, you just don't want to have one way. Yes, later on, as you do more deals, you might have a second and a third way, but you got to start with the first one. In the past, I've always done things that are marketing driven, and I started with direct mail and then I do digital ads. I always preferred doing marketing that then generates an incoming lead. Somebody says, hey, I'm interested in selling my property at a discount. Could you please talk to me about it, make me an offer, right? Versus a cold call or a cold solicitation where now they don't know who you are. I know when I first started as a real estate investor, I struggled. And I struggled because I was doing so many different things to get a deal. And my success came because I decided I'm gonna pick one thing. At that time, I picked direct mail. I'm gonna pick direct mail. I see other investors having success with it. If I can get that working, then that means that then I can scale that because I can mail more and more postcards, and it served me well. So that's what you need to do. You could do that with cold calling. If you want to become an expert at cold calling, then you become an expert at you being great at the cold call, you being great at the scripts, then the transition to that is being good at finding other people and training other people and then managing a cold calling team and sourcing them and all that stuff that goes along with it. If you're doing digital ads, you focus on starting with Facebook, for example. You get leads on Facebook, you get deals on Facebook, you master that. The great thing about this is that, let's say you can scale Facebook, but then you can add stuff to it. You can say, okay, well now I want to do Google pay-per-click, and now you had that other digital marketing aspect of it. You can do YouTube. So there's a lot of things you can stack on that, but you're focused in on one marketing channel that you're going to continue to get better at. So now if you take those three things, that's really what you need. The ability to talk to sellers, the ability to analyze properties properly, accurately. You got to have all three. There has to be simultaneous. Many times we're missing one of these three items, or sometimes even two, and they can't figure out why they can't get a deal, and that's the reason why. If you haven't been able to get a deal, maybe the reason why is because you're missing one or two, or maybe all of these, and you're focusing on the wrong things.